All right, welcome back to part 3 of the Operation Lone Star declaration. All right, Abbott is going to pull $2 billion into this. Going to put $2 billion into this for border wall barricade, fencing, and issuing state troopers, law enforcement, and even the National Guard down to the border to arrest migrants, which of course means they're not capturing any more criminals anymore. They're only capturing people in the name of trespassing charges. Okay? That's it. There's nothing heroic, nothing really great. There's nothing protective. You're not being protective. You never were, as long as those asylum seekers are being arrested, and traffickers and smugglers and any other felons were walking right past law enforcement while law enforcement is guarding caged children. You know, you were never safe. But Abbott is going to make you think that you are, and he's going to be doing while pulling $2 billion out of the Biden infrastructure bill through the $550 billion new spendings part of that bill. Okay, $2 billion should be very easy for him to do. So he's going to be doing that. Coming right back to the thing where we left off. 1.3 million migrants at the border since October 1st. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol has encountered these people. They've encountered migrants. None of them criminals. Asylum seeking is not criminal. It's just not criminal. I don't care how many times you could say that it is. You could say in the name of trespassers. It doesn't matter. They're not the human traffickers. They're not the human smugglers. Okay? Stephen McCraw, a DPS director, along with 4 border area sheriffs, saying that they don't have enough resources to deal with the number of people crossing the border. So how is a border wall resourceable? How is a border wall a resource? That doesn't make any sense in dealing with people crossing the border. Because if memory serves, they're climbing over, jumping over, digging under, walking around, building around. Because remember, it's an incomplete wall. It's not an actual 100 certifiable completed wall. It's all done in parts, in areas where it's easy to walk through, in parts where it's a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more uninhabitable. There's no wall there. So, what is he talking about? What is McCraw, a DPS director? What is he talking about? What are the 4 sheriffs, the border area sheriffs, talking about? No resources, so they're upholding the Operation Lone Star bill, which is just $2 billion for a wall. How is the border wall a resource? Just out of curiosity. That's the most dumbest thing. These people are claiming deputies and troopers have arrested immigrants with a history of violent crime. In some cases, troopers have encountered women who have been raped by their smugglers or by drug cartel members preying on the vulnerable people. Okay, again, vulnerable people. So what resource are they talking about that deals with the victimized people and the traffickers that are victimizing them? You know, there's nothing in the Operation Lone Star declaration that promotes resources to victims. Nothing. No hospitalizations, no clinic care, not even supplying troops, deputies, troops, migrant sheriffs, and any border protection, not even supplying them with nursing care or even immediate combative styled care where it's on-site doctor and stuff. You know, there's nothing in there that says that it's going to be doing that. There's nothing in the declaration. Nothing. So what resources are they talking about for vulnerable people? What resource? There's no resources listed in this declaration. None. It's border wall. It's barricades. It's barriers. It's a holding facility out of an old state prison. There's nothing in there that says anything about resources for handling victims. Resources for dealing with traffickers. Nothing. It's all about a border wall. So how is a border wall a resource? Joe Frank Martinez of Valverde County Sheriff. He says some landowners are afraid immigrants passing through their property and have asked, when can I shoot? Okay, if you have to ask, you're not in danger. Plain and simple. Yeah, and I get it. They're afraid of people passing through their property. Okay, I get it. But if you have to ask, you're not in danger. When can I shoot? When can you shoot? You're not in danger. If you have to ask. Of the 489 people who have been arrested and persecuted by local authorities since late July in Valverde and Kinney counties, 489. Nearly all of them had misdemeanor trespassing cases. So misdemeanor trespassing cases, I think it's a good idea that you're not shooting. And one person has been charged with human trafficking, human smuggling. One. Giving you full indication that if you have to ask, you're not in danger. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And if the guy has been charged with smuggling, that means he's already been apprehended. So there's no need in shooting. You're doing the right thing and not shooting, despite the fact that you're dense enough to ask. All right, Ann Johnson, a state representative Democrat out of Houston, pointed out that so far law enforcement has not been arresting violent criminals as part of the governor's crackdown at the border. She states the rhetoric that we're hearing is that people are fearful, they want to know when to shoot, they're afraid of being raped or murdered or anything else. It's literally walking across somebody's property, a non-violent, non-personal offense. Exactly. Making the law enforcement of any kind to be used as sick'em dogs doesn't have violent criminals arrested. Does not have violent criminals arrested. One of my previous recordings, I've stated, that in a short quarter of a year, 3,000 plus, close to 4,000 criminals were arrested. Okay, amongst the tens of thousands asylum seekers, migrants that they smuggled in or trafficked in. Okay, they were apprehended. Those nearly 4,000 criminals were apprehended when they were taken off guard duty, when they were taken off making caged children's lives horrible, and actually put out on the street to do their job. They were doing their job. They weren't being this sick'em dogs bullshit that my governor is trying to turn them into. They were doing their job. The law is just arresting innocent people, defenseless asylum seekers, when he does this kind of crap. Yeah, she's got a huge point. That the law enforcement is not arresting violent criminals as part of the government's crackdown at the border through this OLS, Operation Lone Star. Immigrant advocates told the panel that the state would be wasting money if the measure passes and would not actually make anyone safer because it has diverted law enforcement from more serious crimes to address a humanitarian issue. Excuse me. It It has diverted law enforcement from more serious crimes to address a humanitarian issue. If you want to call them humanitarians. Remember, they're guarding caged children. That's not much of a humanitarian issue. And, as stated by the immigration advocates, it is a diversion from more serious crimes. Waste of money indeed. And as such leads to the question as to where's the money. Remember this, as I've stated through the previous postings. It's all about the money. Religion or belief is the tool. It doesn't necessarily have to be by way of believing God, although some people will take it that far. Where's the money? Where's it going? Remember, follow it. You'll see what's being put to good use and where it's not. Amanda Wood, director of the Texas Fair Defense Project, says passing this bill would be irresponsible. It would be skirting your duty to act as a check on executive power, and it would be sponsoring fear-mongering and race baiting, and that would do nothing to keep your community safer. It's 100% fear-mongering and baiting. It's just that obvious. Why? Because belief is the tool. Belief is the tool. Everybody that believes this is going to make them safer. Is foolishly not seeing where the money is going. Who's pocketing the cash to make them feel safer. With this declaration, Operation Lone Star declaration. That is 100% correct. It always has been, it always will be. So, overall, what are we looking at? What are the three things that we're looking for from here on out? The money. How it's being used, where it's coming from, how, and does any of it add up, and what doesn't? Okay? Migrants, their handlings and mistreatments. Okay, some of them are being handled well. A lot of them are claiming being handled mistreatedly. A lot of them are claiming 4,500 from the years 2014 to 2018 are still claiming sexual assault. They were still sexually assaulted. No justice has been brought to them. And that was just as far back as 2018. As far back as 2014, all the way as late as 2018. So, 2019, 2020, 2021, nobody knows what's been happening. Nobody. It's about time that with the exception of the kids here in San Antonio, as I mentioned earlier, here in San Antonio at the Freeman Coliseum, where the migrants are being held, the asylum seekers are being held, they actually did get interviewed, and they testified that they're being treated well. Okay, so I'm a little off target there, and I do apologize for that. The one that was off target was he himself, Governor Greg Abbott. Governor Greg Abbott, who's claiming there's a lot of little boys and girls being raped in this holding facility. He came down here to San Antonio. He hadn't been in here in decades. He came down here in San Antonio, went to the Freeman Coliseum, looked inside, came out, accused San Antonio of raping these boys and girls, which, for the record, once again, there were no girls here in San Antonio. The girls were in Houston. Well, we had here in San Antonio were boys ages 13 to 17. From mid-teens to young adult. That's what was over here. So all this little boy girl horrible trespasses claims that Abbott was claiming, total bullcrap. Total BS. Migrants, their handlings, and their mistreatments. Keep an eye out for this stuff. Notice as to what's actually going on, who's saying what. Look at the facts and see for yourselves. The third, organizations. Okay, we had the money, the migrants, now the organizations. Who's doing what? And is it legal? Who's doing what? And is it legal? I keep bringing up these few, but very impactive organizations. Southwest Key, SWK, later on to be known as SWK Estrella. Okay? These are the ones that in 2018 were caught on surveillance, dragging, slapping, and even shoving migrant children against the wall. The organization has collected $1.7 billion in federal grants over a decade. Biden's infrastructure plan, okay? Biden's infrastructure bill, $2 billion is what Texas governor is shooting for. This one company collected a total of $1.7 billion. Okay? And then another $626 million in 2017. Oh, okay. That's after the $626 million in 2017. Okay? The chief, Juan Sanchez, this is a company out of Arizona. The chief of this charity is Juan Sanchez, and he paid himself $1.5 million. The money, people. The money. And again, the migrants, the complaints that are going on. Okay? The complaints that are going on. Okay? Who's getting collected? How much? You know, how much is he getting paid? Which organization is going through this? All right? Which organization is handling this stuff? And how much money is being taken? How much money is being put in? All right? SOS1. The one that was authorizing sponsors to those that weren't even background checked, and giving kids to the sponsors, the adoptives, the one that adopts these kids, you know, just handing them over. Just handing them over. Yep. Flagged sponsors, which are those that have been flagged for labor trafficking allegations. Right? They're the ones that are just handing them over. Same thing with SOS, Southwest Key, SWK Estrella, which is the branch off here in Texas. Okay, SOS1, the supervisor, says it supports their claim that unaccompanied minors are being released without proper documentation or following protocol to traffickers. Okay? That's one of the supervisors out of them that ratted out the company. Another one, organizers. We're still on the third one. We covered the money, the migrants, and now we're down to organizers, organizations. National Association of Christian Churches. This is a company that's more noticeable for natural disasters, not necessarily migrant upkeeps. These guys are the ones that took $4 million, mistreated the migrant girls. Those are the girls, the young adults and teenagers, girls in Houston. Okay, the National Association of Christian Churches, NACC. Okay. Now, they did not meet the standards by the Biden administration. I have no idea as to whether or not they've been pulled off. I should probably look that up. But nevertheless, they were one of them that was abusing the powers, taking money, mistreating the migrants. They were one of the organizations, okay? One of the organizations that was doing the two top things to look out for. Okay? This is what to expect. Well, this is what to predict. Whether or not it can actually be of some good is an entirely different story. These facts that I just threw out at you do have a flip side to them. There are people that have been taken care of. There are migrant children that are being taken care of now. Some of them have been transferred back to the border towns. The ones here in San Antonio have, where the holding facilities have been added. There have been more added holding facilities. And that's good. However, we're still looking at the fact that there are organizations, people, all the way up to politicians, just like my governor, Greg Abbott, my Texas governor, and Bonin and McCarthy, and all those from the DPS and sheriffs. They're the ones that are going to be taking advantage of this bill, and it might be at the cost of hurting people and endangering us, the taxpayers that work for a living, the little guy that works for a living out here. Okay, why? Because putting them on arresting families, defenseless families that have been run out of their country, putting law enforcement from local law enforcement all the way up to a National Guard to putting the cuffs on families that are defenseless, running for their lives, and imprisoning them is not putting away the criminals. It's not removing the violent criminals that are walking past law enforcement. They're driving through our trade cities. They're driving through our border towns without a problem. Now, if Greg Abbott should happen to lose this declaration and the power that comes with it, that means local law enforcement all the way up to state and National Guard law enforcement can go back to taking care of business out in the streets, out in the deserts, out in the Gulf, up in the air, under the ground, and start capturing and go back to capturing the traffickers and the smugglers. Okay? Because 1.3 million, as stated by that one Valverde guy, or the DPS guy, that 1.3 million encounters with migrants has occurred. Only one out of 489 was a smuggler that got caught. So when you got them governors sicking law enforcement like dogs on defenseless people, you'll get one trafficker, but you're going to get nowhere near close to the 4,000, close to 4,000 in 1 quarter of a year, the way we did this earlier this year during the spring months. During the spring months, we caught sanitary. I wasn't part of it, but law enforcement apprehended close to 4,000 smugglers, traffickers, and all of the migrants that they were slipping and sneaking in here, which again leads up to 1.3 migrants as of July. It's August 27th right now, so it could be actually more than just 1.3 right now. But for right now, it's 1.3 million migrants that have been encountered with by law enforcement, and close to 4,000, but only within one season of a year. It's the summer season. We're coming up to fall. And we should be apprehending tons more smugglers and traffickers. We should be apprehending tons and tons of them. We shouldn't be out there rounding up families, okay? We should be, putting them in holding facilities while arresting the smugglers that are trying to sneak amongst them like wolves in sheep's clothing. So, that's the final portion of this segment of Operation Lone Star, how it's coming into effect. It looks like it's actually starting. Ergo, the three main things to look out for from here on out: the money, the migrants, and the organizations. The money, how much is being spent? So far it's predicted $2 billion is going to be spent. How much of it is being put to use is a good question. And if not all of it is going to be accountable for, where's the rest of it? And we will be asking, where's the rest of it? You know it's true. You know we will. Second is the migrants. Testimonies of handlings and mistreatment handlings. We got to hear that. We got to keep an ear out. This will be 100% sure to tell us also where the money went. Because when you're spending a little bit of crap on cages, zero hospitality, zero hygiene, zero food, limited food, zero comfort, well, where's the rest of the money? So you got to hear the mistreatments as well as the handlings of them. There's two differences. Quarantined, bunk beds, USB ports. That's what's going on under the Biden administration. Under Abbott administration, it's an entirely different subject. Cages, thermal blankets on the floor, ice cold conditions. Very literally, one meal a day, a sandwich, and a bag of chips, with a little milk carton. That is not expensive. That is not $2 billion worth of border security, or protection, or asylum seeking, holding, or anything. That's, I can do that. I can feed them with bologna meat and packages of bags of chips. Anybody can do that. Little milk cartons. Anybody can do that. You don't need $2 billion to do that. So where's it going? Well, look at the third one. Organizations. The money's going somewhere, and if it's not going to the migrants, well, I know it ain't coming down my pocket, and I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet real money it ain't going down yours. Nobody's putting any money in yours. So where's it going? Well, look at the organizations. Look at what they're doing. Look at how they claim $2 billion is spent wisely. I'm already coming out of time. Well, that's the main thing, 3 things to look for. Money, migrants, organizations. Keep an eye out from this point on. Let's watch out what we're doing. The full unblocked segment is coming up on Anchor. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that before I go back to work. Y'all take it easy. Take care. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. We'll catch y'all later, okay? Anchor.fm, Chris's comments, and then go to or right here, go ahead and post something like your email address, or email me at atownmytown, which is one word, no capitals, at gmail.com. Share with me your opinions, and I'll share them on